I was testing my voice.
Bobby, you recognize that?
Okay, good morning, Brandon Valley. Okay, good morning. Still sucks. Good morning. Much better. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Langer, you try it. Oh, wait a minute. That was a senior that you didn't clap correctly for. Principal's one thing. Try it again, Langer.
1, 2, 3.
Thank you. All right, we got a little attention this morning. Power, yes, it rests with the seniors. I've learned that. I've learned that the seniors are all seeing and all knowing and fairly bright. Okay. Welcome to Be the Change Week. I have a lot of things to go through today and to share with you today. The next 25 minutes or so are meant to cover a whole bunch of different things. Okay? And so I want to celebrate some things and talk about what we're going to try and do in the course of this particular week. So today and Thursday and Friday, you will be in here at this time each day. And I'll talk to you a little bit more as we go forward about what you're going to see on Thursday and Friday. On Wednesday, there are no classes in this building at all. But I think a lot of learning can take place on that day. And so in a little while, we'll talk about what's going to happen tomorrow for each grade level, because it's not necessarily the same for every grade level. Okay? So we're going to try and do this thing. See how I do this. So, I'm an old history guy, and with the movie Gandhi came out in the 1980s, in the early 1980s, and I went and watched it, and I learned more about who this person is. But I love the fact that Mr. Gandhi changed his entire world and did so in a non-violent fashion. And sometimes just by going on hunger strikes. But he changed the whole world, and he made an imperial power of the British simply leave his country, walk out without firing a shell. People that supported him, they just walked out and left the country and left it to the people that it belonged to. But he says, be the change you want to see in the world. Quit leaving it up to other people. Do what you can do where you're at. There's a wonderful Maya Angelou, which Maya Angelou is like a poet laureate for this country, and she's got a wonderful quote that I will probably screw up. But it literally says, do what you know. Do what you understand. Do what you can do. And when you learn more, then do that. Do the right thing. And so this week is about providing some learning opportunities for you, for all of us, that will help us to know a little bit better so that maybe we can do a little bit better. Do the best you can. And when you learn better, do better. We can do that. Mr. Greenwood, would you come to the stage? Where's Mr. Greenwood? Come here. Come here, Greenwood. He's on stage. You realize that we have not all been together since Homecoming Friday. That's the last time that the 1,000 people that make up this, 1,000+ people that make up this school got together in one place. Well, in the meantime, a gift came our way, and that gift was as a result of Mr. Griebel. And I shared that with some of you, and I've shared it with the staff, but I would like him to be able to make a presentation, and you've seen this. And so, Mr. Griebel, if you want to come on over, and if you want to explain to them what that is.
All right, so I was gone last year. You didn't know that. Not wearing that though. And one of our jobs, among many, was to control or run one of the camps over there. And there's a flag pole, of course, every camp to make sure it's American soil, and so it was. And so I had a flag flown for Brandon High School, because you guys did a lot for me in my town when I was gone, and so I couldn't do much for you, but I did what I could. And what I could was I could fly a flag for you. So here's the flag flown. for you. It was flown on November 11, 2011, which is Veterans Day. It was also flown at 11:11 a.m. for 11 minutes. So it's flown in honor of Brandon High School for everything you've done, and then there's a plaque right here signed by the camp commander, signifying it was indeed flown on that day for all of you, for everything you did for. So thank you very much.
Of somebody doing something with what they have, where they're at, doing what they can serve. Is our former assistant principal here somewhere? Have you seen him yet? Thorson here yet? Supposed to be here. Or dog supposed to be here at 10:30.
Where's Thorne?
Marcel, do you have any idea where he is?
Where is he? We'll call.
Would you get him on the phone?
We'll try.
It's like the middle school is more important than us. What is up with that? I told him 10:30. All of a sudden he gets a new principal gig and it's like he didn't have to listen to me anymore. You know? He thinks like he's the boss or something. I mean, they got to figure out how this thing works. Apparently the middle school has a different, you're about a different time zone than us. They're in middle school la la land, or what's the deal? I mean, this was supposed to be really special, it was going to work really nice. They didn't show up on time. We got 1,000 people waiting for him. Marcel, have you got a hold of him yet? What could be so important? I mean, what kind of trouble could a middle school kid get in for goodness sake? On second thought, he might be busy. Come to think of it. What's the word?
He's with the students. He's going to be on his way shortly.
You are kidding me.
No, I am not. He's working.
You call him back and say, put the student in ISS and get his butt over here.
Yes, I told him that. He's on
All right,
his
in the
way.
meantime, do I have a technology person up over there? Well, okay, fine. It's been a lot more fun to do this if he was here. But I'm going to show the slides anyway, and then when he comes, we'll do that. It dawns on me that Mr. Thorson, who has been with this district for 19 years, and who was an associate principal with me for the last 13 years, has a tremendous opportunity to go to middle school and become the principal there. And because Mr. Hill, both Mr. Hill and Mr. Ponch are retiring, and Mr. Hill has some significant health issues which are not going to allow him to return for the rest of this year, Mr. Thorson is going to go over and is over at the middle school, beginning his transition to the principalship as we speak. And he's been over there for 2 weeks. And Mr. Schleckaway has been hired to take that position next year, and so we began that transition already. Well, I thought it would be a good idea to have a little bit of a reminiscence about Mr. Thorson, so it would have been a little more fun here. But some of you might recall the Three Amigos. Do you ever remember this coming into your elementary room at homecoming week one time and we played our little guitars and we had a before Mrs. Hyness, because she thought about having a corner. But Mr. Thorson and Mr. Marceau and I, we started kind of a tradition, and so then we were our own version of the Beach Boys. Some of you might remember us as the Beach Boys back in the day. Then there was our Smarter Than a Lakes or whatever we did, and he was Jeff Foxworthy and whatever, some of the silly, stupid things that we did. You might recall this year, on guitar, Mr. Thorson, which one of the, I don't know if you know the inside story on this, but one of the homecoming candidates, which one was it? Jordan, is Jordan here? Jordan Griffin, where are you? Mr. Thorson like plowed her with that guitar. He got so excited, he's doing the thing, all of a sudden whaps her with the guitar. Just a little excited. We had a little fun with Jack, a little Sweet Home Brandon Valley, so we have Mr. Thorson back in the day, and then of course the Three Amigos. And so I'm very excited for him. I'm very sad in some ways because, you know, you've worked with somebody for 13 years. Think about that. He's been the assistant principal senior since you've been in kindergarten. Imagine doing that job for 13 years. So I'm thrilled that he gets to be a part of the middle school. I think he'll do a great job, and he brings a lot of things to the table, and I think, but I'm gonna make him come on stage. And I'm gonna ask you to thank him for his years of service, and he isn't gonna like this, but I'm gonna make him speak to you. Okay? So when he gets here, whatever I'm doing, stop. Now, Marshall, if he's not here in like 2 minutes, you call again and tell him, put my son in ISS and get over here. Very possibly with my kid. Okay, so the only reason I show this slide is if you have 6th period lunch, teams at the end on those 3 days, not at the beginning, okay? If you have a 6th period lunch, we're flipping. Today, Thursday, and Friday, we're flipping. Just 6th period, not 4th and 5th, just 6th period. That's right, just 6th period, not 4th and 5th. For those of you confused, just 6th period, not 4th and 5th. If I say it 6 more times, more people will get it. Okay, here's tomorrow. The teachers, I tweaked the schedule. We go to homeroom first. I got to take roll, make sure you're here. Teachers will meet right before school. I'll give you all your stuff. You'll have your homework sheets. You'll have who's there, who's not. The people play have already taken it off, all that stuff. The juniors and sophomores will watch the Bully movie while the freshmen and seniors are watching the play. The Bully movie is a documentary. We'll talk about it in a little bit. Then we'll hit our breakout sessions. Again, the seniors and juniors will have lunch. The juniors are going to be in here with Mr. Schleckaway, along with next year's freshmen. And this year's freshman will be in the chorus room with Mr. Mossman. He'll share his experiences with you that he shared with everybody else last year. And we got different things. Again, we have something for you all day. Seniors, I've already talked to you. The seniors are out early tomorrow. The rest of you, get over it. They have to be here at 8. They don't always have to be here at 8, but we have a class meeting with them, and they'll be out here at 12:45. All right. Woo. I'm sure these two guys love the fact that their pictures are up here. And I'm using this as an example. Mason received accolades this year as well, he should have, in an individual sport, wrestling. He is the first Brandon Valley state wrestling champion in what, like 30 years? Okay, maybe not 30 years. A long time. Mason still didn't do it by himself. He still had coaches and people that he had to practice against and all those things. But I think it's also okay for this community of us to celebrate when an individual does something well. Just like in your family, if one of your family members did something well, I think we should revel in their success because they're a part of us. And I think sometimes when people have success, we try to push them down because we didn't have the success they did. When I think we should really celebrate their success. Seated just 2 seats over from Mason is Allie Kane, who was announced as the second-team All-State girls basketball player. Great accomplishment as well. Is he here?
Yes, to your right.
Thorson! I'm not even going to talk about Chase. I'm going to talk about you. Come here, Thorson. Come here, Thorson. How about Mr. Brown? Younger then. So, they've already seen the slides. We've already talked. Like I said, he becomes a middle school principal. It's like, yeah, I'll come if I feel like it. Okay, who's that? What's that guy? But what I would like to do is I'd like to give Mr. Horst an opportunity to say goodbye.
Well, this was a change. This was definitely a change. I didn't know this was happening. I was just over with the parent at the middle school and got called out. I guess I haven't had a chance to say goodbye. And it's one of those things that if you talk to the staff, I had a pretty emotional day a couple weeks ago. And I've kind of got my emotions a little bit under check, although I may choke up here in a little bit. So, I've been here 13 years as an assistant principal, 19 totally in this district. It's been a wonderful ride. I've worked with so many wonderful people, and all of you need to be very grateful for the people who work here. Because I've been in a lot of buildings and a lot of school districts in this area, out of state, and wherever else, throughout my coaching days and whatever. And I will tell you right now, we're not perfect here. There are things that don't always go the way we want it. But this is by far the best place that you can attend school. And I say that with my whole heart. You have great staff members who are very dedicated to teaching you, to getting you prepared for whatever comes down the road. And you have people that put in an enormous amount of time and an enormous amount of effort for each and every one of you to be successful. I've had the privilege to work with Mr. Marceau and Mr. Telka. I knew this was going to happen. And they are truly my best friends. We've been together through ups and downs, and we've shared a lot together. And that's something I'll probably miss, but we're only 3 blocks away. I think I've already talked to him 4 times today, if I remember correctly.
And we're still late.
And I was still late. But I also want to thank you, the students, because you have made it a wonderful ride. This is a great place to be. And I do miss already parts of the high school. But I'm also very excited for the middle school and what we can do down there at the middle school. So truthfully, from the bottom of my heart, I want to say thank you. It's been a wonderful ride, and it will continue because I'm still part of this district. So again, thank you. I think it's important that I think it's important to celebrate people who are important in your life.
I'll give you 8 bucks.
Okay? I think it's important to celebrate people who are important in your life. You never know when they're not going to be there anymore. The challenges or opportunities and things come up. And, so, I really want to celebrate the person. Let's go through, you know, talk about Mason. Chase Marshall has had a run of successes, and Chase would be the very first one to tell you that any award that he has gotten has been because he's part of teams that have made things happen. He ends up getting in the spotlight, which he doesn't really like a lot. But I also think that it reflects well that spotlight on all of us. So I think that's important. But we don't just celebrate and recognize athletic peers. These 2 young ladies sitting in the front row have a big night coming up Friday night, yes? These are 2 of the incredibly talented artists in this building. And they could have a senior art show, Museum of Visual Images, right? Am I pronouncing it right? Visual Materials in Sioux Falls. On Friday night from 6 to 8, they will have like a kind of the open house where the artists are there and you can ask them questions, and they, you know, when you've ever been to an art show at an art gallery, you get a chance to meet the artists. That's kind of what Friday night is. But their work will be on display for quite a length of time. And if you're like me and stick art's about the only thing you can do, I'm thrilled that we have people who can bless our world by bringing painting and sculpture and drawing and things like that to bring a little bit of life and
fun and energy and beauty into our world. And I love that we have people who can do that and that they have teachers who support them. They are two of just some of our very talented artists that we look to celebrate and support. This month, April, is Autism Awareness Month. You'll notice that many of your teachers have a puzzle piece, a colorful puzzle piece on them. The puzzle piece is to say, autism is a very puzzling, difficult thing to figure out. What causes this, and how come some in a family and not in another? So autism, this whole month. We have students in this building who are autistic. The puzzle pieces are also different shapes and sizes, and that's because autism affects a wide range of people and families. Not everybody fits into this little cookie cutter mold of that's what autism is. And finally, it's very colorful because there's hope that we'll learn more and we'll learn to treat people with autism better, and that we'll learn more about what it is and how to help them. So this month you'll see some signs and you'll see some reminders that it's Autism Awareness Month. On Wednesday, one of the opportunities that every student in this building is going to have is to hear the Schleckway family story. Mr. Schleckway is going to talk to you about being the parent of a Down syndrome student. And you're going to meet Griffin tomorrow if you haven't already met him. I think it's a very powerful way for him to introduce himself to you, but also to talk about Wednesday and Wednesday's theme of Fuel Movement. Because if you've done something or had something done to you that has been hurtful, because whatever the reason may be, the theme of that day is the Fuel Movement. And Mr. Schleckway is going to present to every group. Also on Wednesday, he's going to talk about making the pledge. You Tues, an online pledge. He'll talk more about spreading the word to end the word and the pledge and where that comes. On Wednesday, all but the seniors will get a chance at some point to see the Bully movie. I'm going to tell you, I watched it about a week ago, and it is incredibly an intense documentary. It is a work of nonfiction. But I think it sends a very powerful message and makes us think about how we treat each other and how we let other people treat people in our lives. We're going to do that in classroom settings, not in big group in here, but in classroom settings. We're also going to let every student in this building, including next year's 8th graders, see the play, and we have never done that before. We have never shown the musical to everybody. And it's purposeful. The play that's being done this year is South Pacific. And South Pacific was a play built around James Michener, a famous writer in this country, and he wrote some stories about the South Pacific for things that he gathered from people who lived in the South Pacific. And Rogers and Hammerstein said, we can make a play about this, and we can make money, and we can teach a social message in the 1940s. Because you didn't talk about racism in the 1940s in a panel discussion kind of a way. When you didn't have television in everybody's home, you didn't have CNN, you didn't talk about it that way. So we were going to do it through entertainment. So the play that you're going to see, like a lot of musicals, you get the music and the little love stories and all that stuff, but it is imbued with racism. There's two love stories. One, the character that Matt Scadson plays as a young soldier falls in love with a native girl, a Tonkinese girl. But he realizes he can't take her home because she's not white. So the character played by Jessica Sadler that he falls in love with is not someone he can bring home to meet his parents. And he battles with that in his head. The character played by Molly Stevens is an ensign in the military. And Molly falls in love with a guy who was married once before, whose wife has died, and he has a couple of children. And she falls in love with this guy, the character is played by Brian Albertson, but the problem is that his first wife was a native lady, a Tonkinese lady, and so the children are of mixed blood. As her character says, they are colored. colored is a term that would have been used in a very offensive manner and still wouldn't be considered to be offensive, but certainly back in the 1940s and 50s. My father grew up in that era. My father would use that term. And you know, have you ever been embarrassed by your parents? Really? That would be one of those times, too. So the play has some significant meaning to it, more than just watching music. The other piece of that puzzle, what I love about the play, what I love about sports teams, it's what I love about the marching band. I just love the things where it takes a lot of people to pull something off. Yeah, I've already mentioned 4 of the people who will be on stage, but realize that there will be over 100 high school kids involved in this production, and some elementary middle school kids. And there are going to be kids on stage with big parts and on stage with smaller parts. And there are going to be kids in the booth and running the lights up there and backstage making these big things and bringing them up and down and doing all that stuff. Doesn't matter. The football team has kids who carry the ball and kids who block. Kids who stand on the sideline, kids who serve as managers, who videotape. Same thing. Not everybody gets to carry the ball all the time. Not everybody gets to play all the time. All of those things teach us incredible lessons. And so I'm thrilled that we get a chance to watch South Pacific. On Thursday, David Jall is going to be here. David is one of the Lost Boys in Sudan. If you don't know anything about that, Google Lost Boys Sudan, and you will learn a ton. About a group of young men who had to flee their country, walk hundreds of miles to get to refugee camps just to survive. And David ended up here. Sioux Falls, South Dakota. He is currently like a probation officer type of a person, that type of position with Minnehaha County. But David is going to talk about his experience. David is going to talk about his efforts to build a school in South Sudan. The new country, the country Sudan got split into 2 countries. And he's going to talk about going back and visiting his family. And a couple of your classmates are going to sit up here with David, and they're going to talk to you about their opportunities as mission trips that they've done. Trying to help people in other parts of South Dakota, the United States, and the world. But you're going to meet David Jall, all of you in here on Thursday. On Friday will be fun. We have a service project all week long. And on Friday, we're going to collect all that stuff and we're going to deliver it to the Avera Children's Hospital for the present time. If you end up, raise your hand if you've ever been in the hospital other than when you were born. Raise your hand. Come on, get them up. Look at how many people in here have been in the hospital. All right? Any kid who ends up in a Avera hospital, any kid, whether that stay is 1 day or 1 month or whatever, gets a gift, gets a present. Doesn't make a difference. I should have brought you the little monkey, stuffed monkey that we got from Richland Hospital in South Carolina when my youngest son was, or oldest son was in there at the age of 1, dealing with a stroke. We still have that little monkey. It's just a reminder to us, okay? You can help fill the treasure chest. We'll have this with the treasure. One of some of the shelves aren't full, and they're going to continually have kids in there taking things off. But these lists will be posted around the building. If you or a group of your friends want to go together and get any of those things, we're going to post these lists around the building for you so that you can see them. And let's fill a treasure chest. Just like you helped out earlier this year at Vouchers America's Voting Center. Just like you served at the banquet. Just like you've raised money for the McGee family. Just like you raised money for the House family. This is a giving community. We can do a lot. And this we will do for kids. For all of those things. Last but not least, and this has nothing to do with this week, except for the first practices. That is Job Peters, who currently sits in an orphanage in Haiti. But someday soon is going to come home to his parents. And John Peters, who we have this week. They're going to go to Haiti and they're going to bring this little boy home and hopefully assist him. As some of you who've been around a long time remember, the surgeons have had to make that trip, and those are not inexpensive trips. So we can help make this happen. A group of seniors came to us a few weeks ago and said, and you were freshmen, right, the last time we did this thing? Dancing with the staff. I thought I was done dancing on stage. Apparently I'm not. if you sign up by the end of this week, we need you to sign up if you want to do this because you get a t-shirt. We gotta get them ordered in time so everybody has it for that night that participates. Any staff member in the district, teacher, janitor, cook. The first winner, the very first winner of Dancing with the Staff was Grandma. Who in here remembers Grandma, the lunch lady? She won it on her 80th birthday. She's still working in the kitchen on her 80th birthday. That was cool. She got a dozen roses, won the competition, kind of rigged, but that's okay. How do you complain about that? You say, oh, I'm horrible. Doesn't matter. There'll be like 40 groups up here. You'll be way in the back. No one will see you. Doesn't matter. It's just about having fun. Get a teacher, a janitor, a cook, and get elementary, middle school. Doesn't matter. Get somebody. Get them up here. Ask somebody. Too late. I've already been asked. But ask somebody. Okay? Get them out here. We have a good time. You say, well, I don't know how to dance. On Sunday night, you can come to a practice if you want. You don't have to. On next Sunday, the following Sunday, we're going to have a practice. Come if you want. Don't have to. Then we're going to have a competition on the Thursday. It's not really much of a competition because I'll win. But anyway, 2 dances. You will jitterbug and you will learn how to waltz. And you say, well, I don't know how to jitterbug. I can skate, I can spin anybody on the floor, but call you right back up. Anybody can do it. It'll be fun. So don't worry about that. It's more about having fun than it is worry about getting embarrassed. And you come out and have a good time to raise money for an amazing cause. For something bigger than ourselves. How much fun would that be? By the way, if you come that night and say, well, I don't want to dance, well, don't worry, at the end we have a line dance thing and everybody can come up and we try to get a couple hundred people on stage doing a line dance. It's actually hilarious. So please, feel free to come. If you're not going to participate, come and watch. And it's a free will. We just put a buck down, put $5 down, don't care. But it's all, 100% is going to go to Peter's family. Okay? Let's have a great week. Let's do what we can to make this the best place we could possibly make. Ultimately, that choice is up to us.